20-year-old Filipino tennis star Alex Eala has sent Melbourne Park crowds into an absolute frenzy. We'll go live to Ollie Haig, who's in Garden Square for us this evening. Ollie.
Pause exactly what you are doing. Put your phone on silent. Close every other tab you have open on your screen. Stop scrolling, stop typing, and give me your absolute, undivided, uncompromising attention. We need to have a completely unfiltered, deeply emotional, and profoundly serious conversation about what we just witnessed in the Middle East. We need to talk about the transcendent power of sports, the heavy, suffocating weight of national identity, and the beautiful, terrifying reality of what happens when a 20-year-old girl becomes the living, breathing vessel for the hopes of an entire diaspora. I am sitting here in my studio right now. The lights are low. I just opened up my laptop to review the footage from the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. I wanted to look at the raw statistics. I wanted to look at the unforced error counts, the first serve percentages, and the geometric point construction of Alexandra Eala's historic run. But I can't look at the numbers. The numbers are completely meaningless today, because my screen is filled with an image that completely transcends the game of tennis. I am looking at a stadium in the United Arab Emirates, a massive architectural bowl made of concrete and steel sitting in the middle of the desert, and it is shaking. It is physically vibrating with the deafening, tear-soaked roar of thousands upon thousands of overseas Filipino workers. I am looking at a sea of yellow, blue, red, and white. I am looking at grown men and women, people who have endured unimaginable sacrifices, standing in the grandstands, openly weeping, and standing in the center of that massive amphitheater, looking up at them, completely physically destroyed, emotionally hollowed out, but radiating an unbreakable pride, is Alex Eala. The headline flashing across the world right now is, Dubai fans bid emotional farewell to Alex Eala after historic run. It sounds like a movie script. It sounds like a fairy tale ending carefully written by a Hollywood studio. I am here to tell you that it is not a movie. It is real. It is raw. And the truth behind those tears, the truth behind why that stadium wept as she waved goodbye, is one of the most heavy, powerful, and heartbreakingly beautiful realities in modern professional sports. To intimately, truly understand the sheer gravity of this farewell, we have to completely deconstruct the environment. We have to understand the psychology of the crowd that was watching her. Dubai is not just a glamorous tour stop on the WTA calendar. It is not just a vacation destination. For the Philippines, Dubai is the epicenter of the diaspora. It is a city built and sustained by the sweat, the labor, and the unimaginable sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of overseas Filipino workers. I want you to vividly picture the people sitting in those grandstands. These are the nurses who work grueling 12-hour night shifts in foreign hospitals. These are the engineers, the hospitality workers, the construction crews who endure the blistering, suffocating desert heat. These are mothers and fathers who made the agonizing, soul-crushing decision to leave their own children behind in Manila, flying thousands of miles away to work in a foreign land, entirely isolated, just to send money back home. They live a life defined by endurance. They live a life defined by homesickness. They live a life where they constantly have to prove their worth in a system that often treats them as invisible. And then, Alexandra Eala walks onto center court. When those fans bought their tickets, when they took their hard-earned money, boarded the metro, and packed the upper tiers of that stadium, they were not just paying to watch a tennis match. They were desperately looking for a mirror. They were looking for a representation of their own relentless fight. Long paused, Alaka Lakavai Duralav del Ad Deliuanlaker Kami, as she gave them a historic, blood-stained, awe-inspiring week of pure, unadulterated gladiator warfare. Let us talk about this historic run. The media uses that phrase casually, but I want you to feel the physical violence of what she actually endured over the last 7 days. She did not have an easy draw. She was thrown directly into the shark tank against established, seasoned, incredibly physical veterans of the WTA Tour. Women who are taller, older, and possess devastating power. I want you to picture the reality of the third set in the Dubai heat. The air is a thick, humid blanket that prevents your sweat from evaporating. Your core body temperature skyrockets dangerously close to heat exhaustion. Your lungs feel like they are filled with battery acid. The soles of your feet are covered in ruptured, bleeding blisters beneath your custom Nike shoes. Your IT bands are screaming with inflammation. Your muscles are twitching with lactic acid overload. Words Paul's Olfa Kapperstay, the absolute, overwhelming, desperate biological urge for a 20-year-old kid is to drop the racket, to walk to the umpire's chair, to surrender. Nobody would blame her. The commentators would say she had a great tournament and ran out of gas. But she couldn't quit, because every single time she looked up into the stands, she saw them. She saw the expatriates. She saw the flag. She heard the roar of the crowd chanting her name in Tagalog. Long pause, she knew she wasn't just playing for ranking points anymore. She was playing to validate every single sacrifice those people in the crowd had ever made. She became the living, breathing, bleeding avatar of national resilience. If she refused to quit, it meant they could refuse to quit. If she could slay giants on the tennis court, it meant they could survive another month away from their families. So she locked the physical pain in a dark, blast-proof box inside her mind. She relied on the psychotic, mind-numbing discipline forged in the fires of the Rafa Nadal Academy. She remembered the tough love lessons of her grandfather, Lolo Bob, on the cracked public courts back home. She convinced her brain that her physical suffering was merely a neurological suggestion, and she forced her exhausted, trembling legs to split-step. She forced her hips to fire. She hit the heavy, leaping lefty cross-court forehand for the 500th time. Long pause. She chased down impossible drop shots. She survived match points. She dismantled top-tier players through sheer, undeniable, terrifying willpower. For one entire magical week in the desert, a 20-year-old girl from the Philippines made hundreds of thousands of isolated workers feel absolutely invincible. And then came the final match. Derud away. The tank was finally, truly empty. The human body has absolute biological limits, and Eala had pushed hers miles past the red line. The historic run finally met its inevitable end. The final ball was struck, the umpire called the score, and the match was over. But what happened next is why we are having this conversation today. In a normal tennis tournament, when a player loses, the crowd offers polite applause. The player quickly packs their bags, keeps their head down, and walks off the court in silence. Not in Dubai, not for Eala, or the Space Sala, a party of telling one player the Nopcraft lie. It was a massive, deafening, earth-shaking wall of sound. It wasn't the sound of disappointment. It was a symphony of absolute, profound, unconditional gratitude. Or the space sefta slight, it's our battered shoulders, and as she walked toward the tunnel, she stopped. She turned around, and she looked up at the massive bowl of the stadium. Or the Nautilus the internet, right now. That is the emotional farewell. Or the Nautilus star. I want you to intimately understand the psychology of that exact moment. Or the punish our parallel ballad right now. They winning to our parallel in false breaks moment. Or the suar parallel ballad right. Bakermanken fedisikinavet is the ing dual de morate the now unfollowed swartzada. Ich stud myfen arver buckwats the kimsup. Or the space samarver diki quartz the xekom merdbar. But out both the, or thildikarts a tebent side of the xagorg, or fausel ballod. She is standing there completely physically destroyed. Her clothes are heavy with sweat. Her hands are blistered. She is dealing with the profound, intimate grief of a professional loss. But as she looks up at the sea of flags, as she sees the tears streaming down the faces of the fans, her own eyes fill with tears. She cries because she understands exactly what she means to them. She cries because she feels the suffocating, unbearable, beautiful weight of their love pressing down on her shoulders. She cries because for the last 7 days, she wasn't just a tennis player, she was a beacon of hope in a city far from home. She waves to them, a slow, exhausted, deeply respectful wave, an acknowledgement of a shared suffering and a shared triumph. They are crying because they saw a reflection of their own struggles, their own pain, and their own resilience, beautifully manifested in the footwork of a 20-year-old girl. They are bidding farewell to a week where the Philippines conquered the world on center court. And then, she turns, and she walks into the dark tunnel, out of the blinding stadium lights, and into the shadows. The internet romanticizes this moment. They clip the video. They add the sad piano music. They get their likes and their shares. Long pause, but I need you to remember what happens after the video ends. The machine does not stop. The professional tour has no empathy, no memory, and no soul. She will sit in a freezing ice bath in the locker room, shivering uncontrollably. She will endure hours of agonizing deep tissue therapy to repair her broken muscle fibers. Tomorrow morning, the alarm will ring at 5 a.m. She will board a 15-hour flight across multiple time zones. She will land in a new, sterile, unfamiliar city, and she will have to start the terrifying, brutal grind all over again. Long pause. She sacrifices the normal teenage experience, the comfort of home, and the absolute luxury of weakness because she understands that true athletic greatness demands a toll that most people are utterly unwilling to pay. She pays it gladly. She pays it for herself, and she pays it for the millions of people who see themselves in her swing. I am speaking directly to the Eala army right now. You are the heartbeat of this sport. Your passion is beautiful. Your loyalty is a force of nature. But when you watch that farewell video, when you see those tears, I need you to deeply, critically understand the cost of that moment. Do not just consume her as a symbol. Do not just use her as a highlight reel for national pride. Understand the agonizing, lonely, terrifying physical reality she endures to give you those moments. Respect the blood she leaves on the hard court. Support her not just when she is waving to a crying stadium, but when she is alone, exhausted, and fighting in the dark. I really genuinely want to know what you guys think about this historic run. For the fans who were in that stadium in Dubai, what did it actually feel like? What was the atmospheric pressure in the building when she waved goodbye? For the fans watching back home in the Philippines, did you feel the weight of what she accomplished this week? How does it change the way you view her mental toughness moving forward? Drop your raw thoughts, your deepest emotions, and your real analysis of her game down in the comments below. Let's completely flood the comments section with real, factual, tactical tennis discussion combined with the profound respect she has earned this week. Let's talk about her heavy topspin, her unbelievable footwork, and her absolute stubborn refusal to break under the pressure of the machine. Primsom lag pause, rolikkie found full load papsolo presien, waren full de games a dieblof information for Karen for Campbell hating and blibes, tom tis ets probant, tom tis et dober I failure the ob algorithm. We have to make sure the world understands the real story behind those tears. If you want honest, unscripted, deeply researched, intensely realistic tennis analysis that actually respects your intelligence as a fan and respects the players as human beings, hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on those bell notifications so you know exactly when the next tactical breakdown drops, and I will see you guys in the absolute next video. Keep watching the tape, keep ignoring the noise, keep supporting the brutal, beautiful, unrelenting grind. On the next time you look at a 20-year-old girl waving a tearful goodbye to a stadium full of expatriates, I want you to pause, look deep inside yourself, and ask yourself one final powerful question. Are we just witnessing a game of tennis, or are we watching the beautiful, agonizing, terrifying creation of a global icon?